welcome again to the Facets Office Hours. So the Facets Office Hours is we're going to focus on talking about the latest features that we've released, the enhancements, and we've got some surprises for you planned this time, which is we'll be talking about a new feature highlight and a preview of the new release that will be happening. So we will give you a preview of the features that we're currently working on and we haven't released yet. So just to quickly introduce our speakers, so we have Krishna Runi here from the infrastructure team, Akshay, who is our software engineer from the backend team, and myself from the product team itself. Yes. So in terms of a quick overview of the features, enhancements, and the previews, so we'll be talking about a major feature that we've shipped this sprint, which is the MS Teams workflow support for notifications. One of our existing features that we'll be putting on a spotlight on is how to manage your nodes using the Spot or on-demand splits, and the introduction of a new module, which is the Amazon SNS module. So I'll be passing over the screen to Akshay for the presentation. Yes. Over to you, Akshay.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Adi. So the first one is MS Team workflow support for notifications. So Microsoft has decided on deprecating Office 365 connectors. So what that means is the incoming webhooks, which was used for sending notifications from Facets to the Microsoft Teams, would be getting deprecated. So the timeline would be that by December of next year, it will be fully deprecated, and any new connectors which are to be created or any new integrations that have to be created, Microsoft suggests that they have to be done through workflow. So we have added a native support for MS Teams workflow. So you just need to get the URL of the team and you can integrate it with Facets and start receiving notifications right away. So let me just share my screen and show a demo of my screen is visible. So I have here a channel in MS Teams. So to create a workflow, you just click on the three dots, go to workflow. So here, earlier we used to use incoming webhooks. We would be using post note to a channel when a webhook is received. So this is the workflow which is already inbuilt in Microsoft Teams. So once we select that, we can fill in the details and we'll get the URL. So here to show the details of the channel and the team which the workflow is integrated with. So when you click on add workflow, you would get this URL. So once you get the URL, you can integrate in Facets. So I'd go to Notification Center, create a channel, and here I would select Microsoft Teams workflow, your channel name, and the URL. So let's test out this notification. I get a toast that the notification has successfully been integrated. So let me just click OK. Yeah, I get a test notification on the channel. So it is this simple to integrate Microsoft Teams workflow with Facets. That's it from end. Over to you, Adi.
Yes. So thanks, Akshay, for giving us like a quick demo of how we can set up MS Teams workflow support. Also, given the fact that they'll be deprecating it soon. So if any of us are currently on Microsoft are using MS Teams and would want to use these notifications, you can refer to our documentation or raise a support ticket to configure this in your current setup. So we'll be looking at our new enhancements going forward. So over to you, Krishna Runi, to walk us through this part. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Adi. Hi, everyone. So yeah, So here we are going to talk about the external DNS support for all our non-AWS control planes. So as you are already aware, Facets control planes can be deployed on any major clouds, that is AWS, GCP, and Azure. So earlier we were using the Route 53 to manage the DNS records for our control planes. Now that was a pretty tight limitation because if the user or the customer wants to have their domain in a different provider, or if they want to bring their own domain, that was a bit difficult because this Route 53 was required. So now what we have done is, as an enhancement, we have added support for external DNS. Now the users can bring their own domains, which is managed by any DNS provider, like could be Cloudflare or Google DNS or any other providers, and they can bring their own domains and still have that for our non-AWS control plane. So yeah, this is the first enhancement we have made this week. Next one is related to Victoria metrics. So in Facets, we support Victoria metrics as well as Prometheus for managing the time series DB and our monitoring solution. So with this enhancement, we are actually making a change to Victoria metrics, or an improvement to Victoria metrics, where we enable automated backups of Victoria metrics data to object storages such as AWS S3 and Azure blob storage. So this improves the whole disaster recovery scenario for Victoria metrics, as in case of an emergency, we will be able to recover the data from the backup storage. And the next one is a new module that we have added, which is Amazon AWS SNS resource. So this is basically a service to service, or a managed messaging service from AWS. So we have added support for this. And we can use this for communication between services, or subscribing to a queue to receive messages and some notifications based on that, etc. And one good thing about this module is that it's very easy to configure a service to use this module, because one pain point is that whenever we create an AWS resource, we'll have to give our services permissions to consume or produce messages to this particular SNS. So in our case, what we have done is, whenever you create a SNS module, we'll be creating the producer and consumer AWS policies as well. So in our service, we just have to refer to the resource, and we just have to tell that, okay, I need a producer or a consumer, and the service will have the IAM permissions to do the same.
Yeah. So in our earlier office hours, we had spoken about our support for Canary deployments. So after you configure in your resource, after you set up and configure Canary and configure your traffic routes, we also currently set up our traffic routes using Istio. So once you have actually set that up, and you can actually come on to the UI here and promote it. And along with that, after some of our users had wanted the support for an abort functionality from the UI itself. So this is an enhancement that we've made. So you can promote and abort directly from the UI here itself. So once you abort, you would also need to do a rollback and release. And yes, this is one of our key enhancements that we have done for Canary deployments. Yes. So now over to the exciting part, which would be feature highlights. So in terms of feature highlights, we have one core and interesting feature that Facets already supports, and we have some of our users have been using it for a long time. So we just wanted to quickly give you guys insights into how you can set this up and what could be a potential delta that you can see after using this. So over to you, Uni, to walk us through this.
Sure. So this time's future highlight is the node management for Spot and on-demand split. So one pain point everyone has observed in Kubernetes is that we have Spot instances as well as on-demand instances. Now the thing is whether you should use a, which one you should use for your service ports. Now, if you use the Spot, yes, the cost is pretty cheap, but the availability takes a hit because the cloud providers will be able to take it away with a short notice of 2 minutes or so. But if you go with on-demand, the availability would be pretty good, but the cost would be very much higher than the Spot. So at Facets, what we're introducing is a feature for the users to configure a percentage split between the spot and on-demand instances. So basically, if I'm running a service, I can say that, okay, 30% or 1/3 of my port should be scheduled on demand, while the rest of the ports should be scheduled on spot. So this way, I can make sure that, okay, at least 30% of the ports or 1/3 of the ports have a high availability, while the rest of the ones are, even though the availability is a bit less, the cost would be balanced. So those kind of decisions I can make. And for that, we are introducing a new resource called Kubernetes Node Pool. So basically what this does is this creates a set of new node pools. So if you, as you can see in the screenshot that we have added here, we have this Kubernetes node pool resource creates three node pools, and two of them are spot instance type node pools, and the third one is an on-demand type node pool. Now I can simply link this particular Kubernetes node pool resource with the service, and then what happens is my service ports would be equally and balanced and distributed across these three node pools. Now, since two by three node pools are spot and 1/3 is on demand, the ratio would be 2:1. That is, if I have three ports, one would be on demand and two would be on spot instances. Now, using this particular Kubernetes node pool resource, we can change the percentage ratio of spot and on-demand split as well. For example, if you want a higher split like a 1/5 or 2/3, we just have to change the node pools in this resource. We may have to add a new node pool, new spot node pool configuration, or remove a new spot node pool configuration to do that. So this way we can balance between the availability and the cost of running our service.
Thanks, only for giving us a brief overview into how we can set up spot and on-demand split in Facets, along with the benefits it offers. So some of our customers are actually using this today and can see significant changes in their workload optimization and performance management itself. And if you want to set this up, you can refer to the runbook, or if you want support, you can raise a ticket and connect with us, one of us from the team internally, and we'd be happy to help you out and set this up. So yes, so over to the last part of this webinar, where we'll be giving you a preview of what is upcoming in our next release. So over the last couple of months, the entire team has been working hard on our new UI, which will be the Facets UI 2.0. So some of these changes have already been rolled out, and you guys have been using it. We have got in touch with some of you for user interviews and a lot of feedback, based on which we have actually built this new experience and the new and sort of revamped UI for you guys. So here are some core changes that you can expect in the next release. So resource configurations can now be done via forms. So earlier we were supporting JSON, but now it is made simpler, and you can do it via forms for a lot of resources. We have unified the entire CD setup. So now while you're setting up your CI pipelines, you can do it from just one place cohesively itself. You can also now create, configure, and launch environments intuitively. We have done a lot of UI changes here. We've added wizards for you so that while you're setting up environments, it will be super easy to set up and deploy itself. We also have added a lot of cluster settings or environment settings for your cluster. So no more like going through multiple YAMLs to set this up. You can natively set this up just using a couple of forms in Facets itself. So we have many more UI changes. These are just some of it. So we will be conducting an office hours where we go in depth on Facets UI 2.0 in our next office hours. So looking forward to seeing you all there for that as well. With that, we'd conclude. So if there are any questions you guys have, please feel free to drop them in the chat box, and we would be happy to answer them. And if you have more questions, you can join the Facets community and post them there at any point as well. We have our entire engineering team. We have all our users there. Our power users are there in the community, so they'll be able to help you out as well. So please feel free to join the community. All right, then. Until next time, see you guys, and thanks for joining Office Hours.